Hi everyone, this is Case Manager Emma. For this week I have an activity related to self-care, which we all know is very, very important. You may have heard of it before. I know it's a common one among counselors and therapists with kids. It's called filling your bucket. And with this activity, it goes into describing activities that fill our bucket to make us feel good, but then there are also times where our bucket might get a little bit too full. And so there are also ways where you can empty your bucket a little, just to kind of cool down and make sure we're not overflowing with emotions or situations going on in our lives. So there are 5 different buckets that we fill that I have little examples for. So the first one is going to be our social bucket. So here's my bucket and our social bucket. With our social bucket, it's all about the people we interact with and being social. So to fill up our buckets, we might need to connect with people. We might need more interaction. We're not getting enough, and so our bucket's not quite as full as we would like. So, for example, you might reach out to a friend and go to lunch to fill your social bucket. But there are also times where we maybe have too much interaction. We need a little bit more time for ourselves. So to empty our buckets, we might disconnect in various ways. Maybe we don't go on social media for an hour or so to kind of decompress. So our second bucket is physical. So I have my physical bucket now. With this, sometimes we need to be a little bit more physically active to fill our bucket. Make sure we're exercising and feeling good and taking care of our bodies, which helps our minds. But then when we need to cool down and relax, we're going to empty our bucket a little. It might be watching a movie, and that's okay. The third bucket is the emotional bucket. The emotional bucket can incorporate a lot of different things, but it's really about emotions. And an emotion I love is laughter. I love to laugh. I think it's great to laugh, and I want to have a lot of laughing in my life, so I want to fill my bucket with laughing. But when I need to empty my bucket a little, sometimes I tell myself it's okay to cry. It can be healthy, and so I say it's okay. And, maybe I cry a little, and I let myself feel that emotion. The fourth bucket is different than the emotional, but it is the mental bucket. With the mental bucket, it's about your brain and how we might exercise that brain, which a lot of people might say, oh, I go to school 5 days a week. That's how I exercise my brain. But this is a little bit different. We're forced to do schoolwork a lot of times. This is stuff that we want to do. So maybe I have a book that I really, really love reading, and it's not for school, and that would fill my mental bucket. And to empty my bucket, I want to relax my brain. And people can do that in a variety of ways too. Maybe you do some yoga, which is both filling your physical bucket and emptying your mental bucket, because we're letting our mind wander. And we're not stressing, we're relaxing. I love yoga. Yoga is a great tool. And the last one is the spiritual bucket. And with this bucket, I think it's important to remember that this doesn't have to mean religion. It can, but it does not have to. It can be about being one with nature. Maybe you sit outside and you hear the birds and feel the wind, and that fills up your spiritual bucket. You're recognizing things outside of yourself and your spirit. And then to cool down that bucket is again with the relaxing and some me time. It can be done in a variety of ways. I've given some examples, but some other ones might be going to get ice cream or taking a walk or watching TV. Whatever you might like to do for some me time, because we all deserve some me time. All right, I hope you enjoyed this bucket activity. If you get to use it, I hope it works well. Thank you.